Hello and welcome to another episode of SuperCoach Insider. My name is Ben.
And I'm Chris.
And thank you for joining us for the Carlton Blues podcast and the
Boo.
team... The Booze.
Boo.
Chris. And the team analysis. You can't... Just because you're a Collingwood supporter, Chris, doesn't mean you can be an asshole.
Kind of does, actually. It's the one time that I can actually completely be an arsehole.
Well, look, Carlton Blues, there is quite a little bit of SuperCoach relevance about them, particularly on the top end and draft relevance. Probably draft relevance more than any other format, I think, this year, Chris.
Definitely. There's quite a few players that have potential breakouts.
Correct.
But not a lot of top end there at Carlton, which is what we all know. They're more used to that bottom end, especially of the ladder.
Of the ladder? Oh, you're an ass. But look, yeah, Patrick Cripps is one of the most formidable talents to come across the league, so we'll get to him shortly. But the funny thing that I found, though, Chris, is that with Carlton Blues is that a lot of their lower-end talent have played football games, and it's probably due to the fact that Carlton have recruited half of their team from GWS. So half of their team has played games. They don't have that many rookies that are cheap enough to be worthwhile, I think, as far as your standard side. So we'll get into the team. Have a looking at the season review for 2019. Carlton probably didn't have the best year, but they did show some glimpses and they did show some fight, which I think is a little bit of a sign for their supporters. Mm-hmm. And by the fight, I'm talking about once Teagues took over and they dumped their shithouse of a coach.
I kind of feel bad for Brendan Bolton because he basically got handed a rabble and then developed that rabble, and then if he finally gets a draft pick in Sam Walsh that he can do something with.
Well,
then
I feel...
Nah, catch you later, mate.
I feel for him to a certain extent, but at the same time, you're playing people like Murphy, like a Kernow out of position, and then all of a sudden Teagues comes in going, well, if your best position is this, then you are that, until someone knocks you off.
Whilst I agree with that, what they were trying to do is develop their players.
Yeah.
So
well, and
the other guy comes in and goes, oh, no, we'll just play everyone in their best positions because we want to win games.
Well, and he wants
You've
to be
got to be last anyway. What's the difference?
Oh, they won some games. They didn't quite
cool,
come
bro.
last. Well, you can develop positions all you like, but you might as well develop your resume while you're at it.
Yeah, well, valid point. But I just don't... I think that they're still in a rebuilding phase. There's no way that they're jumping out of that bottom four.
Just out of, if anything. I think it's touch and go. But you're right, they don't have the depth because everyone... At this year, I feel for Carlton, is more about let's see who has it and who doesn't, and then let's make some more list changes.
Yep.
Because they will need some more picks. But the good thing is for the Blues is that I actually think that they did really well recruiting this year. They didn't have to give out anything, and yet they got Nunes and they got Jack Martin for absolute squiddly-diddly nothing.
Excellent.
So there's some good options. But again, we'll go into that.
When you say good...
yeah. Well,
let's talk about them a little later.
We'll get to that in a second because it's coming. It's coming.
All right.
Yes. Anyway, so season review. So the unfortunate thing for Carlton is they were third last for uncontested possessions. They were minus 552 in uncontested possessions against their opponents. Right.
That's huge.
That's huge. They're getting smoked and they're leaking possessions everywhere. Then they're second last for effective disposals, minus 614. Again, ouch. Second last for disposal efficiency. So not only once they had it, they then butchered it. Ouch. Fourth for clearances, which is a thank you, Patrick Cripps.
That's literally Patrick Cripps.
That's
Patrick a little bit of Sam Walshy in there, but that's basically Patrick
Cripps and Walsh first in the league, and then after that, anyway, fourth overall. Sixth for turnovers. So when they had it, they butchered it. And then 14th for tackles inside the forward 50, so they were minus 79. So when it went into the forward line, they just couldn't keep it there.
There was that one game that Harry McKay was like on fire.
Lit it on fire.
And then that's about it.
Right? So
if Kernow could stop being injured, you might have another forward that could actually mark a ball down there.
Or if McGovern took things seriously.
He loves meat pies way too much, that guy.
No. This
Get into your meat pies there, McGov.
This is a serious podcast. Those are facts. They are not opinion. And the thing is that they do have a long way forward. They do have a lot of improving they can do. First of all, when it goes into the forward 50, scrap like hell to keep it there. Not only that, you're looking at uncontested possessions. Man the fuck up. Like
it's not. This is what I mean. I think a lot of it is coaching. But do they have the cattle to be able to perform?
Try not to leak so many possessions without anyone on them. That would be a great start. So I think there is a long way forward. That is them in a nutshell as far as their review. That's not going to be what's happening in 2020. I'm hoping for big improvement, but that is what was. 2020 draw, they have the round 13 bye. So again, the middle bye, not ideal as far as premiums go. But the funny thing is that from round 17 to round 23, they're actually in Melbourne. They're in Melbourne.
They're pulling a Richmond?
A mini Richmond.
Yep.
They're in Melbourne. So the good part is that if they actually have a fairly good and successful start to the year, they don't leave Melbourne for the back end. Not like they're going to make finals. No. So, hey, that's a hush.
They might lose a couple of draft spots at the end of the year.
Well, they might, exactly. They might gain some position and yes. Okay, fair call. But here's the funny thing is that we said Brisbane finished top 4 and they had, the 13th hardest draw or the 6th easiest draw. Carlton have the 6th hardest draw, which, according to Champion Data, that's not me, they play Richmond twice, the Saints twice, North Melbourne twice, and the Bulldogs twice. I don't know
that doesn't sound that hard.
It doesn't sound
Richmond's hard, but what, Saints?
Saints have made more inclusions than
I think Saints
Carlton.
will be competitive, and I think Saints could push for top 8 this year.
I think Saints should probably beat Carlton. I think North would be a flip of the coin, and I think Bulldogs and Richmond will beat Carlton. So I think Carlton probably have their work cut out in their double-up matchups.
The thing is, though, on any given day, they could beat any of those teams except for Richmond. So the only real team that I don't think they've got a chance of beating this year is Richmond. The other 4 teams, they could trump Bulldogs on their day.
Yeah.
They could trump the Saints.
Anyone could beat anyone on their day, but as far as you're looking at overall ladder position, you would say that the other teams would be favourites in all of those matches.
Well, absolutely, because Carlton are the worst team in the league. They probably don't even go favourites at home against Gold Coast this year.
You can't. Excuse me.
Sorry, okay. It's my last Carlton job. I'm sure there's 50 Carlton supporters out there that listen to our podcast that are just going to shred me about those calls. It's all good. Totally worth it.
Excuse me. Do you need to be excused for a little while? Is that what's going on here?
I'm actually pretty hungry, I'll be honest.
Oh, Jesus. Okay, well, the good thing for Carlton is that the second half of their draw actually looks a bit easier. They play Fremantle, Gold Coast, Sydney, Lions, North Melbourne, and Saints in the back half of the year. So if you did want to wait for someone and pick them up after the bye, it would probably not be the worst thing in the world. Problem is that the only premium they really have is Patrick Cripps, and he'll score anyway. So yes, Patrick Cripps might go off the leash and go ham. It doesn't matter. He will still get contested possessions. He will still score well against good opponents, which then leaves someone like a Newman who, you might pick him up in the back half of the year, but it's questionable anyway. So you're not going to miss out on too much from that. I actually predict them coming just outside the top 4, maybe 14th to 15th. Mm-hmm. I think if they have a good year, I'm not going to be as harsh as Chris over here, who is just seeing with his pie's eyes. List changes. It's not too much going on at Carlton, except they lost Andrew Phillips.
Yep.
Catch you later. They picked up.
I think he's an important pick for them because Cruz is never available.
Well, yeah, but they picked up a Pitney, so I think that's actually probably a good pick for them. They got in Eddie Betts, Jack Martin, and Nunes. We'll get to them later, but I think they actually got a few people in.
They got more goals into their squad, which I like because they lacked goal kickers, like a big forward type. Like Eddie Betts can play tall. He can take a big mark and he can kick goals.
He can play tall.
Yeah.
Okay, the best of Eddie Betts is gone, but I think he will provide at least 20 goals that Carlton didn't have. So
absolutely.
Look, let's go for the premiums. Patrick Cripps, the man, the beast. He is a $635,000 midfielder.
Sorry.
Huge. He did have some injury issues last year, missed a couple games, and probably didn't finish off the way he started. But look, he had played 20 games, averaged 117.1, 89.9% time on ground because he does have that ability to go forward and smash a couple goals on the Lions, I believe. Is it, Chris?
Yeah, 4 in fact in the second half.
Thank you very much. And 71% disposal efficiency. So look, he averaged 119.4 in 2018. In 2019, though, we had 5 scores over 148 plus, so that ability to hurt you is definitely there. And if he starts off with a couple of bangers, you're going to wish you had him, and you're going to be behind the rest of the competition. So over those 5 over 148, that includes a 157, a 169, and a 194. And that 194, we all know, is against Brisbane Lions.
True. Just on Cripps, I find his scoring super erratic this year, and which is kind of weird for Cripps in general because he's usually so consistent.
It wasn't too bad, though. He averaged 123.35 over his first 12 rounds before he got injured.
Yeah.
So it's not... Yes, he has some low ones.
What
but
I'm saying in
the
terms
ceiling.
of erratic, I'm saying is he had really high highs and low lows this year.
High highs
So just
and low lows.
Listen to this from round 9.
Listen to that analysis.
From round 9, he went 66, 116, 89, 194, 78, then he had the 4 games off, 115, 73, 152, 78, 134, 85, and then 148 to finish the season. He went big, small, every single game from round 9 onwards.
Well, Chris, you can't go big every week. It hurts.
The joke that keeps giving.
Yeah, right?
That was good.
If anyone's paying attention from the last podcast, you will know exactly what we meant.
But people have said that could be the Teague factor.
Yeah.
Of him, moving Curnow into the midfield is impacting
Not just
here or there,
Curnow, it
or
was also
Walsh.
Murphy as well was in
Yep,
there.
absolutely. So whether that continues into next year, we don't know. Now he still hit huge numbers on the weeks where he scored really well on his off weeks. So I'm not exactly sure if that is going to continue into next year. I still think he's an absolute premium pick, and he's currently my starting side.
He's still legit.
But it's something to watch.
Yeah.
If he's not going to be able to produce consistently anymore.
Not only that, he'll still be like 30% owned, I reckon. Even then, it's one of those picks that everyone just wants to have Patrick Cripps because he's just a beast. And there's so much
You don't want to
spoken
not
about
be
him.
on Patrick
Correct.
Cripps.
So I reckon he'll be over 30% owned. And
Yep.
if you're not on him, you're kind of hoping that he'll start off slow. But it's one of those ones, he's not going to hurt you too much if he doesn't start off with the world on fire.
And he generally plays. I mean, I know last year he obviously only played the 20 games. But you'd have to say the year before he played 22. Then he had that big issue with his back and only played 15. But the 2 years before that, it was 21 and 20. So he plays generally 20 games or over most of the time. So it's reliable for games.
He's not a Josh Kelly.
Huge ceiling, especially when he plays Brisbane, which they play twice this year. Or
I like the 2 U's that you put into huge there on top of it.
I was like, huge, like his biceps.
It reminds me of
So
Wolf on
big.
Wall Street, offering huge potential with
Yeah.
minimum risk. Anyway, the next premium I'd like to talk about is Nick Newman as a defender. He's 524k, 20 games, average 96.7.
Huge back end.
83.8% time on ground, 75% disposal efficiency. Now, looking at his scores though, Newman's always had that big ceiling. Even as a rookie, he still smashed out some big scores, but he had 6 scores over 117, which I think is good. So 134, 147, 161, only 4 scores below the 80. And the best thing about him is it's like a mini Heath Shaw. Shouldn't say Reece Shaw, Heath Shaw. In that 3 out of his 4 disposals were kicks.
Yeah, he definitely kicks way more than he
kicks
handles.
it 3/4 of the time, which is amazing for SuperCoach because kicks are worth gold. Everything that you love in a defender. However, Doherty is back this year.
That is a big concern this year, and I do agree with you.
That's a big concern. However, I'm hoping Doherty is probably more back pocket and that quarterback, and that I reckon Simpson's probably just there for depth almost this year. It's a hard
what Simpson
predicament.
does this year is going to be strange. I'm not
think
exactly sure what their
I think
role
he'll be
or
like-
plan for him is.
He'll be depth maybe, just going back pocket, telling Doherty that you're good. You're doing good.
Yeah.
You're doing well.
Well-
If you get sore, give it to me.
After the bye, Nick Newman averaged 109. So he definitely had a massive back end. I don't think there's much value in the pick because of Doherty returning. If Doherty doesn't come back this year, I think that Nick Newman could be a potential easy top 10 defender and potential top 6 lock, and you've got to have him. But especially with that back.
But
back
you
end
wouldn't
last
pick
year,
Doherty and
I think that's way too risky.
too many. Yeah, you can't pick them both.
Too many? No,
You
I
can't
don't.
pick Newman and Doherty in your starting squad.
I agree.
And Doherty is, what, a $90,000 discount. And he's done it before. So,
And his scores may be affected because Nick Newman was taking some kickouts. I think Doherty is going to be the primary deliverer from.
don't ruin my good stuff coming.
Oh, yeah.
The last premium is obviously Matthew Cruiser, based on his numbers. 528k ruck. You just wouldn't pick him in standard. Hell, you wouldn't even pick him early in draft. You just wait for it. If he falls in your lap,
He's the classic example of you don't get a high pick, so
don't pick a ruck.
you don't pick a ruck and you wait to the end and then you go, yep, Cruiser will do.
Unless you have a very early draft pick and you want to pick up Grundy or a Gorn or even second round pick Goldie, which would be good for a second
Or
round.
first option on your bench is you pick up
That'd be great.
a cruiser.
Whereas otherwise, with Matthew, you would just let him cruise on by.
Absolutely.
Unless he fell in your lap. So
I agree.
Look, he had 5 scores over 119, but he's only played 27 games out of his last 44. So, yeah.
It's a no from me.
Can you cruiser? No. Doherty is my mid-pricer / keep an eye out for. And
/ probably locked into, I'd say, 70% of teams right now.
Well, here's the thing with Doherty, right, is that he's a defender, he's 436k. He's going to be so highly owned that if he does fail, you can then trade him to a defender killing it, or one down, one up him to a premium. It's quite easy to do. It's not the worst scenario, and everyone's going to own him, so it's not going to
It's not going to hurt you even if he does go bad.
It's not going to hurt
you. It will hurt you if you don't have him
and
he goes
towing.
big.
Yep, correct.
You are going to be screwed because you're going to scramble to get him into your squad.
And you think 35% ownership isn't huge, but when you have 200,000 people, that's like 60 to 70,000 people that are all of a sudden ahead of you.
It'll be higher. It'll be 60% ownership, bro.
Nah.
Oh, dude, it's going to be so high.
Nah.
He's going to be.
I'll take your overs and unders on 40.
Okay. I'll gladly take that bet.
Really?
Right now. Yeah, that's what I easily.
So you're saying over 40%?
Over 40% ownership, easily.
Oh, jeez, I have to rethink this.
He will be a top 5 selection. It'll be like Grundy, Doherty.
Yeah, okay.
He's got the value. Okay, so
50% is pretty big though.
The pros and cons. The pros are that he has more potential scoring power than any defender currently in SuperCoach.
Yeah. Downside, 2 ACLs.
Well, I'm still going with the pros.
No, downside.
The pros are that also we haven't seen Doherty in the era of the kick out as counting as a possession.
Yes.
Whereas, so that could add more points to him. We might get another 5 points per game on top of him already. Carlton are a better team than they were 3 years ago when he was last playing.
5 years.
And his injuries are both ACLs. It's not soft tissue. It's nothing to do with anything else. They're big injuries that are season ending, and that's not necessarily going to impact him moving forward.
Well, show me how you dug it.
Well, he doesn't need to change his running gait, or he doesn't need to, you know what I mean. Like it's something that's going to impact his football ability.
No, that's a joke of you doing your ACL while dancing.
Yeah, that's excellent.
Excellent observation. So anyway, basically, here's a good thing with Doherty. He's been doing everything at training except match simulation. I shared a photo yesterday on Facebook and Twitter. No strapping on his knee. Looks pretty sensational. I think he has dropped some kilos. So basically, from the director of high performance said that the 26-year-old was in excellent physical condition.
Oh, he's moving into his prime as well.
Doc has come back and is training. He's probably about doing 80% of the training drills at the moment, and this was end of November, so that was a little while ago. Has dropped a bit of weight, and he's unbelievably professional in his rehab. He's feeling good about his footy. So the last 2 seasons that he did play, and this is something that people forget because they live in a bubble and they don't really appreciate the fact that how good Doherty was. He averaged 108.7 and 114.7. And that was before,
Insane
as Chris
numbers.
said, the kick-out rule where it actually counted. So, best case scenario, yes, he's come back from a knee, so they might be like, okay, let's not make you do anything that you don't need to do, but let's put you on kick-outs so you can then be the quarterback and you don't have to run around and try and lead and man an opponent and do all that stupid shit. We'll just give you, here's the footy.
Here's the ball.
Here's the ball.
Have 40 possessions a game, bro. It's
Here's
all
the
good.
ball, go nuts and have it count as possession. And I could easily see them doing that because I don't think Simpson will be getting the kickouts when Doherty's there, and especially when Simpson's old as old man Simpson.
I don't know how many games Simpson plays this year, but I'd take over-unders at 12. I reckon he's phasing out of
I'd
his
probably
career.
take overs on 12 and unders on Doherty at 40% ownership. There you go.
Double down.
Double down. Jeez, this is dangerous.
So obviously the other consideration is Nick Newman, and he's obviously become a bit of a ball magnet, averaging quite high. But again, Doherty played with Cade Simpson. So as long as he's over his injury, and we will see it in the preseason,
Yeah.
I think he's got to be in your team. But you've got to be able to see in that preseason that he's actually reliably over his injury before we make any decisions. So yes, he's currently in my team, and I think he should be in most people's team.
Yeah.
But there is a question mark there.
Until further ado,
Yeah.
just put him in there, and then look. Worst case scenario, you change your structure.
Yeah.
Okay. Next one is in the mid prices. Jack Martin, 420k mid forward.
No.
Yeah.
Not even.
It's the poor man's Martin. It's the Martin that you don't want to have in your forward line. Look, I've seen
Talented. talented
I've
guy,
seen- I've seen-
Supercoach irrelevant.
I've seen so many people talking about it. I don't know why So had 3 zeros. So many.
Same as the amount of using Patrick Cripps.
Right? Just because he changes clubs, and yes, I get it, he could move into the midfield more, but you are realising he came from the Suns where he could play some midfield because
He's not moving into that midfield.
they lucked. No. Then he's not moving into that midfield.
No way.
Not with, Cripps and Murphy and Walsh and everyone else. Even
They've got
Dow.
about 15 midfielders on that list. There's no way that they're putting Jack Martin
They
there.
probably put Paddy Dow in front of him in the midfield.
He's either going behind the ball or in front of the ball, and he's likely to go in front
of the ball because they lack options.
Absolutely.
And that half-forward
scoring power. That's what they need.
They need scoring power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the one position where they really have a shit forward line.
Not only that.
They have for a while.
Not only that, he didn't play many games last year. You're looking 16 games. He's been injury prone for quite a while. Yes, he was highly touted, and yes, he could easily go and pull a Crouch and actually play a full season, which I doubt. However, it's just one of those funny things. So he got injured in round 20 on 38. He had 1 score of 90, 3 scores of 100. Not too bad for a sample size. However, you are realising that for the Gold Coast, and yes, I realise the Gold Coast sucked probably a little more than Carlton.
Yeah.
He still had scores of 53, 64, 65, and 68. He is 25 in 2020. Yes, it's a new club, but sometimes people think new club means a better role. However, I think it's more...
I think it's the same role.
Carlton still need those...
I think he goes there and plays the exact same role that he played at the Gold Coast.
Carlton need those marking forwards that can hit the goal. Eddie Murphy will be in the pocket. Eddie Murphy? Eddie Murphy will be cracking jokes in the pocket. And I think Martin will be on that forward flank.
I do think so. And
on
I think
the outside.
I think that's the best option for Carlton too. I think he plays his best football forward of the ball, in my opinion.
I think
he's a
great.
good finisher.
Carlton got him for free, and I think it's a great pickup. However, he's not Supercoach relevant. Draft maybe. He'll get you 80s most week, I think.
They lack talent in the forward half.
Yeah.
Getting bets in him in the forward half will potentially reap rewards. I don't think that they're going to be too much of a fire in the Premiership, but yeah, it's crazy.
Okay, so Carlton only have a few rookies that I think are relevant. I could be wrong. There could be some that pop up between now and then. However, like I said, Carlton have played a lot of their rookies. They have gotten people from GWS and other clubs. And if anything, this year shows that they've picked up multiple people with experience because they want to improve their depth. They want to get people with experience. But the people that weren't very experienced before, so we're talking about last year and the year before, have already played games, which makes Supercoach relevance horrible because even players that are on the fringe have played many games and they're 200 plus thousand.
And their rookies are too far behind those.
And their rookies are well behind. However, the ones that are worth noting are Tom Williamson. He's a 146k defender, so more expensive, 190 centimetre player. Had a back issue last year, so they put him on ice early, and they wanted to get him right for 2020. I've had a look at some of the photos of him in training. He actually looks pretty good. They did a long and extended strengthening program on his back and his glutes to try and support his spine because he did have that back issue.
Yep.
And look, apparently they reckon he's a really powerful mover. So he was out there for day 1 of their preseason. So for me, he is the one to watch. He's doing multiple skills sessions.
Do you think he plays round 1?
I think he does.
Really?
He's been doing...
with Doherty back. Who else are they getting rid of in that back line?
I don't know. I think there's enough room for him.
Sam Petrosky-Seaton moved back there. You've got Cade Simpson. You've got Nick Newman.
SPS is easily able to move into different spots.
I think he should be on the ball. He's a better on ball than half their team.
But I think Williamson, he was also a good pick. I think he's been doing 2 school sessions a week. They're really excited at where he's at right now, and that's from their high performance director. He is a fairly cheap player. I think
if he gets a role in round 1, then I think he's probably in most sides.
I think they could use him.
I'm not sure he plays.
Okay, well that's a good way to see.
It's a pre-season watch, right? It's definitely
a pre-season watch, and he is one of the only.
And also, how much can he score?
He's one of the only relevant players there, and if anything, he could be on the other halfback flank. I think Doherty then plays pocket. I think Simpson probably plays pocket, and you're not sitting too bad.
I agree. I think that they probably just.
It's
usually they have 7 though, right? So they rotate one off the bench or rotate 7 into.
I think he could be part of that mix. And for me, it looks like he's gotten over his issues. He was there for day 1, which is a good sign. They rate him, which is another good sign. And he's been doing everything that they need to do. So I'm definitely watching him. He's probably one of the only ones that I would consider. The next one is Tom De Koning. I think his younger brother got picked up by Geelong around pick 18 this year. He's an interesting one because basically he was pick 30 in 2017, 2 meters tall, 97 kilograms. He's 20 years old, so he's had a couple years in the system. Produced some strong form in the VFL, and the Blues are wrapped with his progress, and they see him as a long-term ruckman. So for me, he could, and I know Pitney's come into the club and whatever have you. However, a 20-year-old pick 30, should I say?
Yep.
He actually looks pretty good, and I think he's kind of close. So for me,
reliability of Cruiser playing
exactly, and they might then go with Tom De Koning over Pitney.
Yep.
Pitney
could be the more depth behind.
Yeah, he could be
Koning.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they seem to be pretty keen on him. So for me, he's definitely a watch and wait and see. He could be, and Cruz is only one injury away. What is he? Cruz like 30 odd now. He feels like 40, but he's like 30. He's like 30, 31.
He's 47 right now. Actually.
Yeah, right. His body is about 47, but
Yeah.
he's probably only about 30, 31. For me, he could actually play this year.
I agree. I think that there's a chance that he plays. He could play early as well. I think there's actually quite a few ruckmen this year, rookie price ruckmen that may get shouts.
Yeah, that's fair.
Which gives the credence a little bit more towards the starting the Sam Jacobs.
Yeah, that's
And
fair. If they play early, you could.
I think there's rucks that could get game time early this year.
Well, if Cameron plays early, you could definitely try and take that risk.
There's De Koning, there's Draper, there's Cameron. There's that's 3 ruckmen right there that are likely to get game time early in the season. So
and all you need is an injury to a ruck, and bang, away you go. You're
Done.
living large like last year. The last one is Matthew Owies.
Owies?
I say Owies. You know why?
Too many O's?
You know why? I'm thinking liar. Owie! Owie!
Good.
I'm kicking my ass. Do you mind? Owies. That's why I say Owies. He's a 123k forward. Look, I don't know how close he is. However, a former basketballer, impressed and was dangerous threat playing forward. Knows where the goals are. He has been a senior emergency before for the side, which means that he might have been close until, say, a Nunes came into the side and Jack Martin and Eddie Betts.
Yep.
So, look, keep an eye on him. I don't have high hopes, but again, he's probably the 3rd most relevant rookie on their list, which is kind of sad.
Fair enough.
Okay, preseason watch.
What's crazy is that Owies, whatever his name is, was 102k last year.
Yeah.
And he's gone up to 123k.
Well, it's because once you get elevated to the senior list, you then... I know, it's stupid, right?
It's just a silly thing.
Yeah, it's stupid.
It's annoying.
It is. Once you get elevated, you kind of... Or you've been on the list for a year, you go up. It's crazy. Okay, preseason watch, breakout contenders. Sammy Walsh.
Yep.
Number 1.
Absolutely could do it. He could be the one that just goes bang in his second
I
year.
can be the one.
I can be the
The one with Jet Li? No. Sam Walsh,
Love that
471k midfielder. 22 games played them all. 86.9 for an average 84% time on ground and a 65% disposal efficiency. The good thing is he had 5 scores over 112, which is huge for a first-year player.
It's crazy.
Huge.
And the amount of records he set for
and
first-year
only
player.
3 scores under a 70. So for him, he's great to have in a keeper league. I wish I kept a hold of him. But again, even for a draft league, I think he has definite relevance. For standard, I don't know if I want to go there. For 471k, you are seriously hoping that he goes...
He's got to be 110. It's got to be like a big
And
numbers.
even then, if he goes 105, you're feeling pretty chuffed because he's gone up 20 points on average, but you're still behind everyone else. So it's one of those ones that I like it, and he could pull a Clayton Oliver and go 115. However...
Where are you picking him in draft? It's tough, eh? I was thinking, I could probably pick him up 90. No, people are going to get him by that stage. I reckon you might even have to get him at, say, a 95.
I reckon you have to. And even then, they're playing... But here's the problem. If you pick him at a 95, you're paying a 50-50 roulette on him going 8 points to 10 points over.
I know, which is such a hard pick.
That's hard.
It's such a hard pick.
If you can get Walsh at a 90, 92, I reckon you're laughing.
That's huge. That's good.
95, you're kind of relying on him going 8 points. And even then, you're getting him at true value if he does average you 95.
He will be the best SuperCoach player of this next decade. He will be the number 1 SuperCoach player of the 2020s.
I don't know about that.
Yep, for the next 10 years. He's going to basically do a Pendlebury. Pendlebury, first year, averaged like 80-something. Second year, averaged over 100 and never looked back.
I wish I didn't get rid of him. I got 5 for him.
He's that good.
Right? I got 5.
Yeah,
Is that right?
it's fine.
Yeah.
5's good. Five's got good gear.
Oh, Five had a shoulder reco, so we're all in trouble. Okay, the next one for draft. Let's go. That's the only preseason watch breakout contender.
Yep.
Look, I could go for other. Nah, look,
a little bit of
stuff.
Sanford Trophy season.
You know, that's
a little bit. But he did have a role change, unfortunately, which wasn't the role change that we all. He had 2 role changes this year. Was thrown into the guts and was blowing up.
We'll get to your miscomings in a second. Okay. Draft relevance: Mark Murphy, 19 games, 90.7 average. He did get injured on 18 round 9, so his true average is about 94. So there's a little bit of value there. Average 105.3 his last 10 rounds and only had 2 scores below 99. So, again, Teague's role, check his role. But, again, he is getting older. So, because that's what he did at the end of last year to keep his job isn't necessarily what he's going to do once he has the full
Very interesting to see how they play this year, what their game style's like, how they've developed from last year. Yeah. I actually do like watching Carlton games because I like their players typically have a lot of SuperCoach relevance.
Yes.
And that's what I watch for Crips.
Yeah, watching what the losing margin is.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah.
There's so much to come. Ed Curnow is the other one. Again, average 73.4 his first 11 rounds as a forward. And then Teagues is like bang into the midfield. You get average 113.8, which was like his 2018 year.
The old burn man.
Curnow.
I hate you guys.
But again, that becomes this. If anything, this shows you how critical role is for SuperCoach scoring.
Yeah,
and I know we talk about role and we try and watch the differences in how people are playing, but 73.4 as a forward. Curnow, who's a midfielder and a tagger, and they've used him many ways in the past, but all of a sudden, new coach comes in going, right, you're in this is your best position, you're playing best position until someone knocks you out of that best position, and then he averages you 113.8 over 9 rounds. It's just,
it's crazy.
That is the best example for positions and scoring. Cade Simpson actually dropped 11% in time on ground over 2 seasons.
Yep, and it's probably going to go down again. As I said, I don't know how many games he plays this year.
Well, that's a huge drop in time on ground, and that's just showing his age, and I guess they're trying to sort of keep him holding the team together without having to do everything.
I'm super surprised that he hasn't retired.
Me either.
But I figured that they're probably keeping him just in case Doherty doesn't come up. 2 years in a row, they've been trying to get Doherty back on the park, and he's
maybe he had to go around again because he threw everything on red. You never know. I shouldn't make that. I shouldn't make that joke.
You shouldn't make that joke, but it was good.
I shouldn't make that joke. I'll take that back. Look, I love Cade Simpson. I think he provides a lot to Carlton. He tries.
He's a fantastic player.
Every week he's consistent. But look, it was his lowest output since 2005, which doesn't give me much confidence. I would not be starting him in standard. And in draft, you could probably pick him up around the 80 average and probably be happy with what he gives you. Whether it's like the Luke Hodge when he dropped down. It's like, yeah, Simpson could end up averaging 88 and you could be happy. Or he could average
a last defender or a bench spot.
Yeah.
For sure.
Because at least as the last defender, if he fails, you can just trade him on and that's okay. But
absolutely.
He did average you 95.4 his last 7 rounds, and he did have lows of 39 and 45 throughout the season. Yep. So it's one of those ones.
I think he'll be playing much more pocket, like one-on-one defender pocket.
He'll probably be trying to distract everyone from the fact that they're giving it to Doherty.
Yeah. Well, they've got enough users now out of defence. So if they've got Doherty and they've got Newman, they don't need Simpson's foot. They don't need to get it to Simpson anymore. So
that is true.
We'll see how that goes.
Next one, Charlie Curnow. So 11 games, 68.5 average. Injured on 7 in round 2. Injured on 5 in round 15. And true average of 82.4. So yes, there is value there for draft. Definitely don't go there in standard. As I said in
what's happened to him recently?
Well, as I said in another podcast,
yeah.
He dislocated his kneecap, injury number 1, and then he fractured his patella. So we're talking about 2 incidents on his knee.
Same knee?
Yes.
At least it's the same knee.
Looks cooked for round 1, apparently. And
there's no way he plays round 1.
And apparently the injury is so bad, it's so don't pick him in standard. Wait in draft.
Well, you'd pick him up on your bench in draft anyway.
Bench. But he did have, with all these injuries, before he got injured in round 15, he had games of 89, 93, 102, 154, and averaged 109.5 over 4 rounds. But like all Curnows, he just can't put it together. So, and
absolutely.
Next one, Zach Fisher, again draft relevant. 21 games, 65.6 average. Actually had a poor year for his standards. We did have high hopes.
Yep. I had hoped that last year would be a breakout for him.
Well,
but really, it's the emergence of Sam Walsh
and
basically took all of his mid-time.
Correct. And you look at that, he averaged 89 in his first 7 rounds. Walsh was doing well and then started to get some more other things, and Sam Petrofsky-Seton started to do a few other things, and then all of a sudden averaged 52 over his last 9.
Yep.
So since the coach changed, Zach Fisher no longer there. He's pretty much fishing without any bait there because he's screwed.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. SPS, Chris.
Yeah, my boy.
Your boy, first thing I have down here, didn't average 91.5, which was the bet, I believe, Chris. And,
that was the bet?
What was the bet for that? Nothing? What was it?
No, it was a draft pick or something, wasn't it? I don't even know. What was it?
Was it draft pick? Was it now standard league? Because I think you
I'm
won.
not sure.
You won
We
the
have to
one.
go back.
You won the one before that.
There was something.
Or I won the one before that. Actually, I always win. I don't think you've won a bet against me in a while.
I won one this year. I won.
Yeah, but we didn't put anything on it.
We this time the one bet that I won.
You're gonna have a look, but we didn't put anything on it.
Do you want to tell them about our Mills bet?
Oh, okay, right, okay. So we have got a current bet going on.
Yes.
It's actually quite spicy.
It's a little bit spicy.
So it's Dawson versus Mills. I probably wish I went Blakely instead of Mills at this point, but hey, look, it is what it is. So Mills versus Dawson for average throughout the season.
I'm on Dawson.
I'm on Mills. Did we have a minimum game count on this? I think we might have. Was it 12 games?
Yeah, I think we had over 12 games. Over half the season, yeah.
Over 12 games played. So it's a $50 bet, as well as the loser has to give up their first round draft pick in the Keeper League for the winner's last round draft pick in the Keeper League. So we're not talking first pick, we're talking first round pick and last round pick. So that way no one can do any dodges and trade out their first 3 rounds and be like, oh, this is my first draft pick.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, none of that dodgy shenanigans.
But I could also be dodgy.
And it's a spicy inclusion, and either way, someone's gonna be able to give us crap. So look, that's pretty good for that. Anyway, so Sam Petrofsky-Seton had 5 scores of 108, including a 136. However, had lows of 28 and 34 and 460s. So the role changes that you spoke about.
Absolutely got hammered by roll. Was thrown into the midfield and was just destroying it and absolutely killing it. And then T comes in, puts him behind the ball, and then he still went well. Like, he had some good games and some good numbers, but around the ball, that's where he shines. So it wasn't really great for his SuperCoach output and really killed me in the end. But
if anything, he actually has a bit more draft relevance this year, being a defender, midfielder.
Yep.
I think that there's less of them, and there's a lot of forwards and forward speculatives.
Still has scope to break out and maybe average over 90 this year. So definitely,
either way, he's draft relevant. He could average you. Again, over he's 81.6 with a better roll, he could definitely push that 90 mark.
Absolutely.
But look, let's see how it is. And so the next one I have for draft relevance is Jack Nunes. Got nothing to say on him. I just wrote it down and said
he turns the ball over more than fucking Jack Crisp. I tell you that.
Look, 20 games, average 71.2. Could get a better gig at Carlton. However, I've got down here, sell me a lemon.
I don't know why they drafted for him. Like, they need another person that can turn over the ball more.
I know.
Like, why go for someone like Nunes? It does not make sense.
You know why? It's because he wanted to go there, and they're like, sure, we'll take him.
Yeah, you're free.
He could have
a negative. Can accumulate the ball, though.
He could have a negative on a few other players like SPS. But yeah, Matilda, quote, sell me a lemon.
Yes. It's good.
Anyway,
it was all right. I mean,
shit pick Newman. Draft, you could pick him up on your bench, and you could probably get what you get, and you can move him on.
You get what you get and don't get upset.
Yeah, that's
Write it down.
Yeah. That's it. Other injury news is Marchbank had a fracture in his cervical spine throughout the season.
Ugh.
Out of a neck brace and has been out there running at training. So someone, again, I probably wouldn't even pick him in draft at this point unless you see something positive. But look, I'm happy he is out there.
Excellent.
And that rounds me out for Carlton, Chris.
Excellent. Thanks, you. We got through that like a Band-Aid. Whoop. So you'll be enjoying this daily. These will be uploaded.
Yes.
But we will be recording again next weekend.
Oh, no, before that. We've got to get some stuff out.
Oh, even before then. All right, let's do it.
Well, you got your wedding, Chris. We got to do this.
We've got to nail it all out in the next 2 weeks because then the wedding comes around.
Correct. Which means we need to do for 2 weeks. Mate, we need to do some midweekers. You got to catch up.
All right. Let's do it. Let's do it. Give the people what they want.
We need to. All right. Thank you very much, and stay tuned, and # bless you all.
Cheers, guys.
Bye.